And I'm going to use a Katie Porter style whiteboard to walk through how quickly you can lose your democracy if you don't fight for it. We've seen this happen in other countries, but it's also happened in our own not that long ago. So it's lost in history. But shortly after the Civil War, you had very active black participation in Southern elections. In Louisiana, for example, almost 128,000 registered black voters actually outnumber the number of registered white voters in that state. In Alabama, South Carolina, Mississippi, other southern states, very high levels of black registered voters and participation. You had a 61% black voter turnout in presidential elections then. But that also meant you had black elected officials at all levels. We're talking mayors and sheriffs. We're talking dozens of state reps in the different state houses, sometimes the majority, sometimes speakers of the House. You had black statewide officials such as secretaries of state, Supreme Court justices, lieutenant governors, for example. You even had between 1869 and 1901 at least one black member of Congress every single year from the South. So things must have felt like democracy was moving forward, right? All this would be gone in a matter of years. By 1910 in Louisiana, the number of black registered voters had plummeted to 700. In these other states, about 3,000 black registered voters remained. How did that happen? You had a relentless effort to say that all this participation was leading to voter fraud. Sound familiar? And corruption. And so you had brutal voter suppression to wipe out this participation. You had courts who, despite the 14th and 15th Amendment, did not step up and protect voting rights of black voters. And you also had, ultimately, the federal government also fail to protect those voting rights. And you also had brutal violence from the KKK, which basically together cratered democracy. You had only 2% turnout in future presidential elections, and all those black elected officials I mentioned, gone. Without their participation and representation, what followed? Almost a century of Jim Crow from those state houses. Folks, the lesson is clear. If you don't fight to protect your democracy, you can lose it almost overnight.